Another Dooley Noted Podcast comes to you from the Coach's Podcast Room at Spurrier's Gridiron Grill in Celebration Point. He'll be in here in just a little bit, and we'll talk to him. I got a lot of things I want to talk to him about. Some of them we'll cover in the Hand Law starting lineup. But Jimmy Himes is going to be on Friday. We're actually going to tape that on Thursday. So because I have a golf tournament planned. Stop Children's Cancer Tournament. Looking forward to it. Did go to the tailgate, didn't go to the game. It was kind of glad I did one of those things. Let me just put it that way. But there's certainly a lot to talk about, and it's going to be an interesting week leading up to this big game with Tennessee. Let us go ahead and get to the Hand Law starting lineup. And, of course, you know the great people at Hand Law. They present the starting lineup. It is a Florida law firm which helps clients with government. To learn more about Hand Law, visit its website at www.hand.law. The firm is available for consultation in Jacksonville. Oh, what a wonderful town. There was a song like that back in the 60s, believe it or not. All right, number one on the Hand Law starting lineup. It has been a sobering 2 weeks for Gator fans. We all thought that, hey, this team may be better than everybody thought with that win over Utah. But the truth is they could very easily be 0-3 right now, very easily. If Utah doesn't, throw the ball, the interception, at the very least they kick a chip shot field goal and goes to overtime, then who knows what happens. This game, obviously, they have the bad snap that goes 14 yards back, and they jump on it. Batty, the running back, who's played really well in the game, and that was a huge factor in the game, made the field goal longer. But even then, it came down to the holder, not doing a good job, and he got the ball back up on the tee, or on the ground, but it was laces in, which you never want, and the guy still almost made it. It was a pretty Schrader, pretty impressive kick, but we're not worried about any of those guys. This team has obviously a long way to go. The skill level of the wide receivers is not anywhere near Florida where it needs to be, and we talked about this all during the preseason. The defensive line and Ventrell Miller. If Ventrell Miller's out, they're going to have trouble defensively. He was out. They had a lot of trouble. Those guys played hard. They competed, and they did make some adjustments. Because one thing that they did with Bohannon, who, again, this is a guy that won a Big 12 championship last year and transferred when he got beat out in the spring. They ran him a lot more than had shown on tape, and Florida made the adjustment at halftime. But I've never understood that concept, why you don't make adjustments during the game. Why do you have to wait till halftime? But anyway, so here they're still ranked 20th in one poll, I think 22nd in the other one. It just kind of, it just feels like a matter of time before this team is unranked. But they just, I think it's been disappointing in a lot of ways. I understand that my favorite saying is nobody suffers winning like Gator fans, but maybe I'm one of those guys doing that today because it felt a lot like a loss. And some of the players said it. Montrell Johnson felt like we didn't win, felt like we lost the game. So that was the game Saturday night. And then, of course, number two on Hand Law starting lineup, it comes down to the same thing. 3 weeks in a row, Florida's gotten shut out in the third quarter. It's unbelievable. Most teams come out, and we just talked about adjustments, come out in the third quarter, and we made some adjustments offensively, and we're going to do this and this and this. Florida just seems to be stagnant in the third quarter. They, like when they had the pick for the touchdown, and they're up 24-10, and I'm like, they're about to blow these guys out. Everybody can relax. Instead, they let them drive right down and kick a field goal right before the end of the half. And then actually USF scored 18 straight points. I mean, look, I know USF played hard, and I get it. This is a big deal to them to come in here and try to win this game. I understand that. I've said before, I should be able to stand up in front of the entire Florida athletic department, all their players, all their student athletes, all their coaches, and make them understand that every team that plays you from within the state wants to beat you and hates your guts. And it matters to them more than you think it does. But it does. I've been around a long time. I know what matters, and it does matter. But that third quarter thing has got to get better, and I don't understand what the problem is. Number 3 on the hand law starting lineup, Florida actually right now has more rushing yards than passing yards. They also have a quarterback who has more tackles than touchdown passes. Those are weird stats. But this is another one, and I'm looking forward to Coach Spurrier coming in here. 58.7 plays a game. Was that me? That's not a lot. 58 plays a game. They only had 48 in this game. South Florida had 74, I believe it was. And again, this goes back to get off the field. Defensively, they allow South Florida to convert 8 of 15 on third down, 2 of 2 on fourth down. So that's 10 out of 17 possessions where they were able to convert. Not 10 out of 17 possessions, but 10 out of 17, third and fourth downs where they were able to convert. And then offensively, Florida just didn't do anything in the third quarter, and that kind of hurt them. I don't know. This team it's kind of weird to watch them play. And we asked, I wasn't there, but they asked Napier about today what the problem was defending the run, which they got. I know they got better at in the second half, but they still had 286 yards. That's a lot. And he said there was conflict, a lot of conflict with Ventrell out, new guys in, guys not going to where they're supposed to be going. There was one play, Scooby Williams, who played hard. I had no problem with how hard he played. There was one play where they ran up the middle I think it was for a touchdown. He just got moved out. He's not big and strong enough, and he's still got to be in the exact right spot. This is a problem that will not go away, believe me. They've got one middle linebacker. One. Now, in a year, they may have 3. That's what you do. You do what Georgia has done. You just plug and play versus what Florida's doing, which is try to stick fingers in the dikes right now, which is exactly what they're doing. All right. I will say this. They have at least kept the penalties to a minimum, and I know those 3 holding penalties on the kickoffs skew this a little bit. But they're at 1 in every 24 plays is a penalty, which Napier's goal was 1 in 30. Last year it was 1 in 17, so they've gotten better at that. They don't commit a lot of big penalties, in the run game. Not a lot of holding. So they're doing a good job in some areas. I'm not going to. Again, they're 2-1, which is I think what a lot of people thought they would be at this point. 2-1. All right, number 4 on the hand law starting lineup. Tennessee is a 9.5-point favorite. That line jumped already from the opening line of 7.5, I think it was. Now it's 9.5. People watch Florida play. They're not impressed. The game is in Knoxville. Game day is going to be there now. And my first reaction was, what? Why would you go to that game? Well, they're both ranked. I don't know if it's the only rank on ranked, but it may be because I looked at the other games. I was like, well, what other game would you rather see them go to? And I went, no. It goes back to the thing that I've been thinking about a lot is everybody is afraid of these super conferences taking over college football. I want it to happen. I want there to be 2 30-team conferences, and that's it. And everybody else go play for the FCS, because we have weekend after weekend where there's only a few good games, and that's the problem. Is everybody's trying to get these games, early because you want to play lesser teams early, and there's usually just enough to whet your appetite. For example, A&M and Miami was enough to keep me excited that Saturday night. But bottom line is, we need more good games. There's just not enough good games, and it's a shame. Finally, on the hand law starting lineup, and I'm going to ask Coach about this too, because Herm Edwards got fired, at which my first reaction was, okay, he got fired. Why did you wait till fire him? Because look, he didn't really commit, according to everything I've read, he didn't really commit NCAA infractions during COVID, but everybody on his staff did, and he rewarded it. And it was. They always talk about whether you have compliance issues, whether you make sure your guys understand what they can and can't do. And I think at Arizona State they have decided we're going to do whatever we want and try to win games. But they fired him because they lost to Eastern Michigan. That's right. Eastern Washington comes to Gainesville next week. Michigan was who beat them. They had a kid rush for 286 against them, I think it was. That's just crazy. But he's gone, and I have no problem with him. I like the guy. We'll talk to Coach Spurrier about that as well. That is a sleeping giant out there. People have been saying that all day today. Arizona State has good facilities. It's in a conference you can win. They get good players. Arizona's loaded with talented guys. You can recruit California. You can even recruit the Samoan Islands if you want, because that's how Utah built their power, not only now, but back when Urban was the coach. Anyway, so we'll talk to him about that. But Urban's name has come up with some people about being the next coach there. I don't know. It does. I mean, look, somebody is going to do. Now, I don't know that Urban wants to coach anymore. He gave the impression to people I know that he was done, that he was finished, that this had scarred him, this whole NFL experience. I got a feeling he's going to, say, yeah, maybe I will go and coach. Maybe that's why he shaved for the pregame show this week. He didn't shave last week. But we'll see what happens there. All right. That is going to do it for our Hand Law starting lineup, and we appreciate Hand Law and all the great things they do. We'll be back. We'll have Coach Spurrier and also our Campus USA Credit Union play of the game. All that coming up in the next segment here on Another Dooley Noted Podcast presented by Titan MRI from the Meldon Law Gator Studios. Hello there, everybody. I'm Pat Dooley, of course, from Another Dooley Noted Podcast. And this is a great Adam Brewer, and he's just opened up a place here, Adam Brewer To Go. What gave you the idea to do this, to have a to-go place?
We really like the fast concept, being able to get the barbecue. Now we have this new online ordering. So before it was a call ahead carry out, quick service. We have like a curbside kind of a deal where everything's ready to go for you. And then we thought, wow, we have a really great dine-in concept, but how can we make this streamlined for the customer and make it easy and accessible for all parts of town?
Adam's Rib Co. To Go. Come on down and enjoy it.
Great food, great atmosphere, a diverse menu, everything made from scratch, plenty of space, and locally owned. These are all the characteristics of a great restaurant, and you can find each and every one of them right here in Gainesville at Ballyhoo Grill. Ballyhoo Grill prepares all of their food fresh every day, from their salad dressing to their award-winning soups. Bring your family and enjoy dinner under the Tim Trebo Tiki Hut while listening to live music. Or if you're running low on time to eat out, they also deliver through Uber Eats, Bite Squad, and Postmates. A Gainesville staple that's been open for over 30 years. Check out Ballyhoo Grill on Facebook or at ballyhoogrill.com.
Another Duly Noted Podcast comes to you from the Coach's Podcast Room at Spurrier's Gridiron Grill and Celebration Point. You can watch and listen to us on Facebook and YouTube for every podcast that we do on Mondays and Fridays at 2 o'clock. Listen to the podcast whenever on Apple Podcasts, Spotify, Google Podcasts, Overcast, any of the other 39 platforms where you can find this podcast or your favorite podcast. Remember to like, follow, and subscribe. If you have any questions or comments, leave them in the comments section below or call me if you want to do some advertising at 352-317-3444.
Things have certainly got a little out of hand lately when it comes to just buying our everyday necessities. Just look at gas, streaming services, and heck, even chicken wings. Well, there is one necessity that shouldn't cost a ton: taking care of yourself and helping fix all the aches and pains in life. And the fine folks at Titan MRI agree. With costs a fraction of what you'd pay at a hospital, you'll not only save money, you'll be taken care of by staff with over 20 years experience. So when you need an MRI, call Titan first, and you can go where your doctors send their families. Now offering CAT scans.
Albert, Alberta, I understand you were witnesses to a crash. Can you tell us about the accident? When you're in a crash, it's important to get witness statements immediately after the accident. Whether you're in a car, truck, motorcycle, scooter, or even a golf cart accident, at Meldon Law, we won't back down.
Pat Dooley's Story Time is brought to you by East Lake Pediatrics. Nobody knows how to provide pediatric health care for little gators better than Dr. Mike and the other board-certified pediatricians and the pediatric nurse practitioners of East Lake Pediatrics. They have been providing personalized health care to the children of Pinellas, Pasco, and Hillsborough counties since 2004. And with the recent addition of Dr. Chris, who is also board certified in sports medicine, they are now offering care for youth sports injuries as well. To learn more about East Lake Pediatrics, call 727-372-6760. And to get to know them better, listen to Dr. Mike and Dr. Carey on their Peds and Pop podcast on multiple platforms. Gator football is back, and the best way to get exclusive insight is a membership in the Gainesville Quarterback Club. As the oldest Gator booster club in the world, Gainesville Quarterback Club gives you the access to speakers like coaches, Gator greats, and more. Yeah, I even talk over there. It's pretty cool. Share your passion for Gator football with hundreds of other members at weekly in-person meetings or for non-locals via Zoom with an out-of-town membership. Right now, out-of-town memberships are only $150, and all new out-of-town signups get entered to win 2 Champions Club tickets to homecoming. That's pretty cool. Against Missouri, speaker presentations, home game tailgates, and special events throughout the year. Join the Gainesville Quarterback Club today. Email the club at membership@quarterbackclub.org or call me, Pat Dooley, 352-317-3444, and I'll get you in touch with the right people. Gainesville Quarterback Club. All right, welcome back to Another Dooley Noted Podcast presented by Titan MRI from the Meldon Law Gator Studios. And, of course, Coach Spurrier is always presented by Meldon Law on Meldon Mondays. So we appreciate their double sponsorship there. And I know that you're itching to talk about this game because it was just there's things about it that are hard to understand. Well, like one, you're a 24-point favorite, and you're this close to being in overtime.
Yeah, I'll tell you what, we've been pretty fortunate. Really, all 3 games, we could have won them all or maybe lost them all. 3-0, 0-3. I think we're fortunate to be 2-1, obviously. And but I know Billy Napier and his guys said we got a lot of coaching to do with this team. But the season's all in front of us. But yeah, we need to get better to match up with the teams we're going to start playing.
Yeah, it's like they had 48 plays in the game. They're not staying on the field, and they're not. And USF had 74, so they're not getting off. They gave up. I think it was 8 for 15 on third down, 2 for 2 on fourth. Yeah. So they're just not controlling the game.
Yeah, we were fortunate, and a lot of games may go just like this. And now Billy's. He wins a lot of close games. His history there at Louisiana, they won most all their 3, 4, 5, 6-point games or whatever. So if he can keep it up, we still got a fighting chance, that's for sure.
Yeah, you didn't have a lot of close games. How many 3-point games Pat, did you have?
Here's what's interesting. I saw, we've won 2 in a row, but 3 points. I said, I'm going to go back and look. I couldn't remember any. I coached 150 games here, as you know, and I looked back for a 3-point win, and I found one, and that was one of the biggest. We beat FSU when they were number 1 in the country, 32-29. Yep. But you look you look for 38-35 or 24-21. You look for those. Now, and we lost a bunch too. Auburn beat us all 3 times by 3 points.
That's right.
And then we lost overtime, Tennessee 3, and so forth. But we were real good, winning by 4 and 5 points for some reason. 17-13, 24-20, 24-20, like I said. So we were good in those. We were like 18-3 and 4 and 5 point wins. So, but those 3-pointers and 1-pointers and some of the 2-pointers, we actually were under 500.
Yeah, that's amazing. Yeah. what would you do to shake things up offensively in the third quarter? This is 3 straight third quarters they've scored 0 points. And usually when you come out at halftime, you've done some adjusting and you find some plays that work, but they don't seem to be able to do that.
Well, one thing Dan Mullen's teams did well is try to score right at the end of the first half.
Right.
And there's something to that. If you can score right at the end of the first half, it gives a little boost going into the second half. So I don't think we've done that very well, scoring right at the end of the first half. But to start the third quarter, I don't know. Hey, empty your playbook. Let's go. Let's start firing a little bit and this, that, and the other. But still, your defense got to get the other guys off the field. People will forget how good our defensive guys were. Gee, Auburn and Georgia, the first year, 1990, I think Auburn punted 12 times in the game, and Georgia punted 11.
Wow.
So, I mean, it was 3 and outs all over the place. So I used to kid Shane. I said, man, you got about 17, 18 possessions every game. We should have done a lot, which we did. But that opportunities to get the other guy off the field is very important.
Yeah, and that's the weird thing about this is that Coach Napier came in here with a reputation as a guy who knew about offense, but it's almost like he's still trying to get them to understand the basic concept of it, and they're not. Even the Richardson pick that he threw down in the corner of the end zone, which is, you can't throw the ball there. I mean,
no.
I don't know that I would give him the option of throwing the ball there.
I mean, we've proven we can run it, and we can run it down near the goal line. So, we've got to keep running. I think Anthony needs to run more. Design quarterback run. I hear all the announcers on radio say the same thing, because that's what he does best right now is run. So he's got to do a little bit more, but still we got to throw the ball. We got to throw it downfield, throw it, and get these guys going. So.
Well, that's the thing. They're not getting a lot of separation at wide receiver, and I think that's part of the reason he doesn't have the confidence.
Yeah, that could be, but. I don't know exactly what it all is, but we're 2-1, and we got the big games coming, so maybe improvements on the way.
And obviously going to Knoxville, where you had a lot of success. Not all success, though.
Yeah, we lost more than we should have there. But,
90-92, they were 90.
Oh, we got
7-3, and when they
92.
Carter runs that kickoff. Dale Carter runs a kickoff back at the second half kickoff in 90. And next thing you know, it turns into a blowout, which was surprising. And they had Heath Schuler 92, but then you kind of went on a run against them in Knoxville.
Yeah, I think we were 8-4 against them, and they won an overtime game up there that we had a chance to score 14 early, but we fumbled going into the end zone.
Yep.
One of the few times we ever did that, and then we had to kick a field goal from about the 3-yard line because we didn't get it in, and then it went into overtime, and T. Martin had about a 20-yard run,
I remember that.
They had a holding penalty. We sacked him. They were way back. They didn't even have a field goal attempt. And we actually, Bobby Stoops, he said, we rushed 5 to cover all the gaps. And I'd be dang, some guy got out of his gap. And T ran up, made about a 20-yard run, and their guy made the field goal.
Yep.
And then we missed a short one from the right hash, and that was it. So a lot of stuff happened, some of those close losses, but I don't know what we could have done differently except have a better play to score a touchdown on.
What was it like for you with the crowd there? Because that's the biggest stadium you play in every other year. And what was it like for you?
We didn't pay a lot of attention to the crowd, to tell you the truth. In fact, I wore the double headset, so I couldn't hear the crowd. And
was that on purpose?
I could hear the guys up top.
Yeah.
Yeah, I don't know how those guys wear just a single earpiece.
Yeah.
But I that way you can talk to your coach up top and this, that, and the other. So it didn't affect me. Of course, we did a lot of hand signals and so forth if we needed the audible. But Danny and Doug and those guys, Shane, we didn't let the noise prevent us from checking off.
We need to get to our Campus USA Credit Union play of the game, which we do every Monday with Coach Spurrier, and so we'll play it right now.
A hand into the slant. It's intercepted. Taken away by the Gators. Jalen Kimber to the house. 39-yard return.
when he's dropping back, he's got to see that coverage coming up on him. But it still was a really good play by Kimber.
Yeah, it was a great play by him. The quarterback, he's told to let it go. The receiver, you can't let the guy cut in front of you like that. Yeah, you got to cut him off is probably what they'll tell the receivers. But our guy beat him to the ball and made a heck of a play. So our guy made a good play, and their receiver did not cut him off, as I say.
That's the interesting thing is I've been after the secondary to make some big plays, and this team seems to be doing it. But the trouble is the offense has not gotten rid of its penchant for throwing interceptions. Obviously, Anthony Richardson's thrown 4 already, which is a lot.
Yeah, we're not throwing the ball around very well right now, but it's early, as they say. And we got to get better. We got nowhere to go but improvement, right, Pat?
Yes.
That's one good look at it.
Absolutely.
Yeah. But around college football, let's talk a little bit around college football. Nebraska had a change in coaches, and of course,
how'd that work out?
Now they changing D coordinator. Yeah. They're changing him. But it was interesting. I don't know the new coach at all, but he came in the stadium and he had 2 uniformed security guys on both sides of him as he was coming in, I mean, Nick Saban only has 1 or 2 guys, but he had 4 of them. It just sort of shocked me. He needed 4 guys to get in the state. He never coached a game in his life. But anyway, that was something. And then some of these coaches, they let them mic them up during warm-ups and things like that.
Yeah, they did with Shane Beamer.
Yeah, Shane let them do that. And but I tell you what, Georgia, this offensive coach they got, Monken, he's the best, I think, right now. I watch their scheme of things. They got guys wide open. Yeah. This guy, Brock Bauer, they got him up for the Heisman now, and rightfully so. He gets wide open, and he can run with it after he catches it.
They run him on jet sweeps as
a
tight end. Yeah,
he ran for 1 TD. I think he might have caught 2 touchdown passes. But they've got an offense that does things. They move around, they throw it, and they got Stetson Bennett. He looks like a Heisman guy this year.
I know.
They're turning him loose.
He might win it.
And he can run. He did a little keeper and juked about 2 of those defensive backs for South Carolina and went in standing up. So, Georgia, they moved ahead of Alabama with all the voters this week, and rightfully so. So they're going to be tough, but we need to worry about Tennessee right now.
Yeah, I think that because Georgia's been so good on defense, that it frees them up on offense to do some things because they know even if they throw a pick, we're going to stop them anyway coming back the other way. And this has been 2 years of that. I thought they may drop off, but now I wonder if they're even going to play a close game.
Yeah, well, we don't have to worry about them until down the road a little bit. But I tell you what, here's an interesting weekend it was. All right, all 3 pro teams in Florida win. The Jags win. Tampa Bay and Miami and Tua, 6 touchdown passes. What a game that was.
4 in the fourth quarter.
4 in the fourth quarter to beat the Ravens. That was and then the Giants and the Jets win on the same weekend, and the Yankees and the Mets. So everybody in New York's happy. Everybody in Florida's happy. They're pro sports fans. It was just an interesting weekend. So.
The most interesting thing to me was we had a fight in college and in the NFL. The difference is the one in college was 2 guys on their own team. On Houston, they were having trouble. The guys started duking it out on the sideline, but then you had the thing, them trying to protect Tom Brady.
Yeah,
and that became a big deal. In fact, I think both those guys are suspended for the next game.
The whole game or the half?
Yeah, I think the whole game. Yeah.
Well, they'll miss Evans, of course, but they were just jawing around there a little bit. And I tell you what, those guys, you know why they love Tom Brady so much?
No.
I mean, not only does he win for them, all these quarterbacks that they want that $40 and $50 million a year. You know what Tom Brady wants? Just 25.
Yep.
25. He's stuck. He could make
bring
50.
in better players. Yeah.
There's a salary pool. So his teammates say, well, he can make 45, 50, a lot more than these guys that are getting it. But he wants to save the pot for the rest of the team. They're going to make more money.
He's making plenty on commercials.
He's making plenty. He said, 25 is enough for me.
Yeah,
that's way. So anyway, that's why he's a little different. That's why they love him. They love him and they play hard for him. And that's why the Buccaneers they got a chance. They got a chance. The defense guys are really good too. And Jameis Winston, they said we figured he'd throw us a pick sometime. It took a while.
Yeah,
it took to the fourth quarter.
They had seen that before.
That was an interesting game. But I mean, Brady's the winningest of all time, and there's other reasons besides he's such an excellent passer. A lot of other reasons.
What was the most money you ever made as a player?
In the NFL?
In the NFL.
Late there, 125. 125.
Wow.
Yeah. And that was normal after the Players Association was formed.
Right.
So I started at 25, and then
25
10
a year.
years later it was 125, that was a lot back then. Yeah.
You get playoff money though, right?
A little bit.
Not much.
$2 or $3 grand. It wasn't a big chunk, but money's bigger for everybody. But championships or some guys, that's what's really important to them, and a lot of other guys. Well, let's see how much money I can make.
What I wanted to ask you about Herm Edwards getting fired, which, I mean, they did a lot of things that they shouldn't have done. And during COVID, they had recruits on campus, which they shouldn't have done. I was surprised they kept him as long as they did, but then he lost to Eastern Michigan, and that was like the last straw.
Yeah, that was a little surprising that they would do it right in the season here.
3 games in.
Yeah, maybe some other violations popped up. I don't know. But the guy who hired him was a real good friend with him. That's why he got the job. They were good buddies.
He was his agent, I think, at one time.
Yeah, he was an agent.
Yeah.
And became the AD out there. So they did well. They went to 3 bowl games, I think. So they had winning seasons and so forth, but they had those violations. And so I guess now it's time to depart.
Yeah, if you've got the violations, you better win.
Yeah. I thought Nebraska would put up a little bit better fight than they did with their new coach and so forth, but I was wrong there. But Oklahoma's a good team. Oklahoma is Brent Venables has got those guys. They believe in him, and they all trust each other, and they've got a chance for a really big year.
Yeah, I'm curious to see what Arizona State does. There's already been talk about Urban, going out there. But, I mean, you would think that would be a program that could be that is kind of a sleeping giant, much like Florida was when you came here in 1990.
Yeah, Arizona and Arizona State are schools that, good weather, climate, and all that. And of course, they have to recruit California, which they should be able to, and other parts of the West. But they've had some good teams in the past. Of course, in '96, Arizona State, they win the national championship if they beat Ohio State in the Rose Bowl. And Ohio State, of course, scored right at the end of the game, and that's what made us national champ.
Yep. But I mean, they were. Yeah, you're right. They were that good. With Jake Plummer was their quarterback.
Jake Plummer, they would have been undefeated. We would have still had that one loss. So the voters, in all likelihood, would have voted for them. And since everybody had one loss, we'd beaten the number 1 team in the country. So we were able to edge ahead of them in the voting, as they call it back in those days.
I remember the day, the next morning we had an 8 o'clock press conference. Of course, I hadn't been to bed yet because we were writing all night. And you said they did vote us in, right? You wanted to make sure they did because you weren't.
Well, after the game, Norm Carlson came up and hugged me and said, he called me Orr all the time. My middle name said, Orr, we're national champs. I said, how do you know they hadn't voted yet? He said, well, I think they're going to.
Yeah.
And I said, well, we don't know till they do.
You still want to wait and see,
I'm just going to celebrate with my buddies winning the Sugar Bowl now, and then we'll celebrate the other if it happens.
Just think about how different I don't know how your guys would have approached the game differently, but they might have if Arizona State had won that game. Sometimes it takes, as you know, and you talk about God smiling on the Gators. I mean, Billy Napier is very lucky to be 2-1 right now. I mean, if that guy doesn't throw the ball in the end zone, we're going to overtime, right? And if that guy doesn't bobble the snap, and then he got it up, he somehow got it up, but it was halfway. Laces in. So
he just barely got it up. The kicker went through his timing.
He almost made it.
He almost, if he'd stopped, but it was a 48-yarder. It would have been difficult for him to stop and try to just punch it through like you could at an extra point. We're pretty fortunate on those snaps and bobbles there at the end.
I was going to ask you on that interception, that one thing that their quarterback did was pump it. And when you pump it, man, it just, It better be trying to fake somebody out, but he was pumping it because he was hesitating and then threw it right to
did he?
Kimber. Yeah. So I mean, you got to. That's one of those things you got to coach guys out of doing. Giving it away. Felipe used to drive me crazy. He would stare down guys and he would raise his hand like he was going to throw it. No, he's not open enough yet, and then I'll throw it and be a pick the other way.
Yeah, a lot of quarterbacks are taught like 1, 2, 3. First read. So you stare at him a little bit. All right, he's not open. All right, second read. I'm gonna stare at him a while. Oh, well, here they come. Now our quarterbacks, as you know, Pat, we look through the area, and if we got some openings there to let it go, we let it go. If not, you gotta hit your short guy usually. So Shane and those guys, Danny, the reason they get sacked a lot, they didn't stand back there and hold it. They let it go.
Yeah, it's interesting. I don't think Richardson's been sacked all year, but
not bad. Yeah,
he's let a lot go that shouldn't have been thrown, or was maybe he's feeling that pressure. And when he says, even today again, I'm lacking confidence right now. I mean, how do you get that? Yeah. A player back to that point.
I think I'd write on a piece of paper if I was Billy. Here's confidence. Put it in your back pocket. Now you got confidence. Play like you got confidence. No, that's the old coaching thing that coaches have to have, is to instill the confidence in their players that they're good enough to play very well and win the game. And Anthony's got the talent. He just got to believe a little bit stronger. We can do this thing. Yeah.
Do you think that being a hometown guy, he was working against him? I mean, I know it was a struggle a little bit for Doug sometimes.
No, it didn't hurt Doug. I don't think. It didn't hurt Doring. Didn't hurt Travis McGriff. Didn't hurt Willie Jackson.
Nope.
No, that had nothing to do with it. But I don't know if there was another. We have no other quarterback, I guess, right now, do we?
Not really.
I mean, we got some warming up before the game, but
well, I mean, Kitna,
he could play
3-star guy, yeah. But he's the backup now.
Maybe,
the other one's a walk-on.
Maybe put him in a series. Maybe that would help Anthony. I don't know.
Well, that's the thing if Jack Miller was healthy, and he'd probably be healthy eventually. There's a time when like just sitting on the bench and watching somebody else do it can help. Watching somebody else get out there and do it. It can help sometimes. Yeah. All right. Anything else, Coach?
Oh, that's about it. Rocky Top this week. Big game. If we're going to be in the division hunt, we got to get this one.
Was Rocky Top the song that Tennessee played when you were living in Tennessee?
Yeah. That's been there a long time.
So you kind of probably like that song, then?
Nah, not too much. But Florida, we didn't play Tennessee regularly until about 1990.
They've only played 52 times. Oh,
yeah.
In 100.
We didn't play them when I was in school here.
Yeah.
Played Vandy, I think, once for some reason. But we always played Mississippi State and always played Auburn. And that was our sort of western side guys now and so forth. Yeah.
Yeah. It'll be interesting. All right, Coach. We will see you next Monday, and hopefully we'll be talking about Florida beating Tennessee.
Yeah, that's a big one up there. Game day's going to be in Rocky Top and so forth. And going back to the mountains, how about App State, that win they had?
I've always been an App State fan.
Yeah.
Because I used to go through Boone when we would go on vacation, and you'd see the stadium. But and then when they beat Michigan that time, I bought a T-shirt. I was such a big fan. And then for them to do what they're doing, I mean, to win it when game day's there, and if you lose that game, you're like, but to win it the way they did was crazy.
Well, they won it because, of course, the Hail Mary.
Yeah.
But you know how you stop the Hail Mary, don't you? Or do you not know?
I think you rush more than three guys.
Exactly.
Yes.
Exactly. South Carolina had 1 second left at the end of the first half, and they wanted to throw the Hail Mary. So Kirby, he blitzed them. He rushed 5 guys. 1 guy went in. And the quarterback threw the ball out of bounds just to get rid of it.
You can't give them time.
It takes 5, 6, 7, 8 seconds to get your guys down there so you can throw the jump ball. And if you rush 3, they can block 3 for 8 or 9 seconds.
It aggravates the crap out of me when they do that.
If you rush 5 and keep him in the, then you got a chance to get to the quarterback before he throws it. And then if the ball never goes down there, you don't have to worry about it.
I remember Eli Manning throwing one of those.
Most people rush three, though. You watch them; they go rush three, and when that ball goes up in there, and they don't call interference down there.
No, they
you
never
can
do.
Push, shove, you can do anything.
Yeah.
So it's interesting. It is.
Yeah, the one Eli threw, I think, was against Zook's second team, and they rushed three, and I went. And as the ball's in the air, Robbie goes, "They deserve to get this caught." Because they only rushed three. He was mad. He and I have a big problem with that.
Most people just rush three for some reason.
Speaking of Robbie Andrew, who'll be coming on in just a second, we'll be doing Yes, No Way, or Maybe, but we appreciate Coach Spurrier, brought to you by Meldon Law. They won't back down. We'll be right back with Yes, No Way, or Maybe here on Another Dooley Noted Podcast. Hello there, everybody. I'm Pat Dooley, of course, from Another Dooley Noted Podcast. And this is a great Adam Brewer, and he's just opened up a place here, Adam Brewer to go. What would give you the idea to do this, to have a to-go place like this?
We really like the fast concept, being able to get the barbecue. Now we have this new online ordering. So before it was a call ahead carry out, quick service. We have like a curbside kind of a deal where, everything's ready to go for you. And then we thought, wow, we have a really great dine-in concept, but how can we make this streamlined for the customer and make it easy and accessible for all parts of town?
Adam's Rib Co. to go. Come on down and enjoy it.
Great food, great atmosphere, a diverse menu, everything made from scratch, plenty of space, and locally owned. These are all the characteristics of a great restaurant, and you can find each and every one of them right here in Gainesville at Ballyhoo Grill. Ballyhoo Grill prepares all of their food fresh every day, from their salad dressing to their award-winning soups. Bring your family and enjoy dinner under the Tim Trebo Tiki Hut while listening to live music. Or if you're running low on time to eat out, they also deliver through Uber Eats, Bite Squad, and Postmates. A Gainesville staple that's been open for over 30 years. Check out Ballyhoo Grill on Facebook or at ballyhoogrill.com.
Another Duly Noted Podcast comes to you from the Coach's Podcast Room at Spurrier's Gridiron Grill and Celebration Point. You can watch and listen to us on Facebook and YouTube for every podcast that we do on Mondays and Fridays at 2 o'clock. Listen to the podcast whenever on Apple Podcasts, Spotify, Google Podcasts, Overcast, any of the other 39 platforms where you can find this podcast or your favorite podcast. Remember to like, follow, and subscribe. If you have any questions or comments, leave them in the comments section below or call me if you want to do some advertising at 352-317-3444.
Things have certainly got a little out of hand lately when it comes to just buying our everyday necessities. Just look at gas, streaming services, and heck, even chicken wings. Well, there is one necessity that shouldn't cost a ton: taking care of yourself and helping fix all the aches and pains in life. And the fine folks at Titan MRI agree. With costs a fraction of what you'd pay at a hospital, you'll not only save money, you'll be taken care of by staff with over 20 years experience. So when you need an MRI, call Titan first, and you can go where your doctors send their families. Now offering CAT scans.
Albert, Alberta, I understand you were witnesses to a crash. Can you tell us about the accident? When you're in a crash, it's important to get witness statements immediately after the accident. Whether you're in a car, truck, motorcycle, scooter, or even a golf cart accident, at Meldon Law, we won't back down.
Pat Dooley's Story Time is brought to you by East Lake Pediatrics. Nobody knows how to provide pediatric health care for little gators better than Dr. Mike and the other board-certified pediatricians and the pediatric nurse practitioners of East Lake Pediatrics. They have been providing personalized health care to the children of Pinellas, Pasco, and Hillsborough counties since 2004. And with the recent addition of Dr. Chris, who is also board certified in sports medicine, they are now offering care for youth sports injuries as well. To learn more about East Lake Pediatrics, call 727-372-6760. And to get to know them better, listen to Dr. Mike and Dr. Carey on their Peds and Pop podcast on multiple platforms. Gator football is back, and the best way to get exclusive insight is a membership in the Gainesville Quarterback Club. As the oldest Gator booster club in the world, Gainesville Quarterback Club gives you the access to speakers like coaches, Gator greats, and more. Yeah, I even talk over there. It's pretty cool. Share your passion for Gator football with hundreds of other members at weekly in-person meetings or for non-locals via Zoom with an out-of-town membership. Right now, out-of-town memberships are only $150, and all new out-of-town signups get entered to win 2 Champions Club tickets to homecoming. That's pretty cool. Against Missouri, speaker presentations, home game tailgates, and special events throughout the year. Join the Gainesville Quarterback Club today. Email the club at membership@quarterbackclub.org or call me, Pat Dooley, 352-317-3444, and I'll get you in touch with the right people. Gainesville Quarterback Club. All right, welcome back to another Dooley Noted Podcast presented by Titan MRI from the Meldon Law Gator Studios, and it's always a pleasure on Mondays to bring in the great Robbie Andrew, as it says below his name, Codger, to play Yes, No, Way, or Maybe, which is brought to you by Big Mills Cheesesteaks. If you go in there and say you listen to another Dooley Noted Podcast, you get free fries with your order. And, of course, whenever Robbie's on, he is brought to you by Hesser Kipke as well. And we'll talk about Hesser Kipke a little bit later. And he's on the Big Mill Zoom line. So you're sponsored by just about everything, Robbie.
I love it. You should put down Proud Codger on there.
I'm
a proud Codger.
Make a note of that. Proud Codger for next week. All right, Robbie, it is time to play Yes, No, Where, Maybe on the Big Mill Zoom line. Number one. I didn't think I'd be saying this after week 1, but number 1, Florida goes to a bowl game this year.
This year?
Yeah.
Pat? Shaky maybe on that. I mean, after the way they played the other night, I don't see a lot of wins on that schedule. They can't stop anybody. The offense, they have no passing game. We'll know a lot more after Saturday. I think if they get blown out, it's going to go a little sideways for them.
Well, and that's the thing. I mean, Eastern Washington, which actually is a pretty good FCS team, and we've seen
and they throw the ball.
Crazy things happening all over the country. And maybe, but even Vandy appears to be way better than they've been. I don't see where the automatic win is,
No, I mean, maybe Missouri.
That's to get to 3, Yeah, maybe Missouri. Yeah.
Maybe Missouri at home could be one. But, I mean, FSU isn't looking like a W right now. No. After the way they played at Louisville the other night. So
Louisville.
Yeah, it's gonna be hard to get 6 wins and get to a bowl game.
It is. It's so unfortunate. All right, number 2 on Yes, No, Where, Maybe. Jack Miller plays significant minutes this season. I think I asked you this question in the offseason. Now I think the answer has totally changed.
The answer now is yes, Pat, because you've got a quarterback in Anthony Richardson who's lost his confidence. I guess he apparently even admitted it today that he's not real confident what he's doing, and it shows. His throws are off. He's not running the football. And I think at some point you're going to have to make a change. Right now they can't do it because Miller's not healthy.
They got nobody.
If he was healthy, I think he would have gone in the game, both of the last 2 games at some point, if he had been healthy and ready to go. But he isn't ready yet, and I'm not sure when he's going to be back. Maybe next week or the week after.
Next week. Yeah.
Yeah, but at some point I think But I think at some point they want to get him in there and see if he can't shake things up a little bit in the passing game, get the offense moving a little bit.
Well, yeah, I mean, there's a combination of a lot of things. One of them is that the receivers don't get much separation, if any.
No.
And that's certainly hurting him. Obviously, as you mentioned, he's lost his confidence, Richardson, and when you have a quarterback who has more tackles than touchdown passes, that's not a good sign.
That's not good. And Pat, the offense has not been real creative in terms of play calling or scheme or anything else. So they're not really doing a whole lot to help him along either, it seems like to me.
Yeah, it's like they're trying to get their offense still installed. Okay. So that interception they threw at the goal line, which was ridiculous.
That was awful.
But he had an option, and he could run or he could throw the ball. Well, he's shorter out there. They've stacked the box. The right call is to throw the ball, but not to throw it where he threw it, No,
he threw it in the worst possible place.
And still, even with them stacking the box and even with the one-on-one coverage on shorter, I still would have run the ball the way they were gashing him.
I would have too, Pat. And you know what? I don't want to see any more wide receiver screens to Henderson for like negative yardage or no yardage.
I think I saw – somebody had this stat that Henderson, between bubble screens and reverses, speed sweeps, he's averaging like 2.3 yards a carry. I mean,
that's not working. They got to try something else.
I don't know what to do. I don't know if there are answers here with this team right now. Which again, it's hard to believe we're saying that after the first week. We thought it was going well. All right, finally on Yes, Nowhere, Maybe, brought to you by Big Mills Cheesesteak, street dining done right. Robbie, Georgia has a close game this season.
I'm going to say no way. The way they look like an NFL team, a polished NFL team, Pat.
And we
I think they all
just
just
lost all those guys,
Yeah,
they would be.
People thought they were going to struggle. They may be better on offense this year than they were last year, and I don't see anybody stopping them or holding them down. I mean, they look like they can go up and down the field anytime they want, and the backup quarterback looks great to me, throwing the football. Beck.
Yeah, Carson Beck. He was
from
Jacksonville.
Yeah, from Bowles. But they look like a polished NFL team the way they do everything.
Well, that's the thing is this is what happens when you stack recruiting classes. And obviously Florida hasn't stacked them for a while. And now they've got to it'll take a while for it to happen for Florida. But, man, I tell you what, I know they were playing nobody, and they pretty much – but now Oregon wins a game. You start thinking maybe that win over Oregon, the blowout win, was even more impressive than it was before.
But to go in South Carolina, Pat, to go on the road like they did last week, and they could have picked their score in that game. It could have been like 80-0 if they wanted it. So I just don't see a close game. Maybe Tennessee can give them a game for half. I don't know.
Once they got the student athletes off the field, they were able to go out and play. Did you see that?
Yeah.
Shane Beamer screaming at their own student athletes, get off the field.
I know. I saw that.
But I understood his frustration. His whole team was lined up, ready to go. But and again, you shouldn't have that many people on the field anyway during a game. That's my opinion. All right, that's going to do it for Yes, Nowhere, Maybe. Great talking to you, Robbie. We will see you.
Thanks, Pat. Good talking to you, too.
All right.
Okay, Pat.
That's going to do it for Yes, No Way, or Maybe. Okay, we are back here. Appreciate Robbie for being on for Yes, No Way, or Maybe. And really, really fun shows when we have both Coach Spurrier and Robbie on. We should have them on together at some point. You go, Robbie? All right, let us get to our Leonardo's and Millhopper quick picks. And several of you qualified last week. Not a lot of you, though. There was a bunch of people that did get it right with 3 wins for the teams that were – we didn't count 2 teams, so we did 4. Anyway, that was probably way too complicated. But we did get a lot of people who got in. So pretty easy one for this week. It is a Thursday night. There is Thursday night football in college. We told you that the first 2 weekends of the year, the first 2 weeks of the year, the Thursday night games were non-existent. But there is one. It's not a great game, but it's a Thursday night game. So we're going to put it up there just to have a college game up there. West Virginia at Virginia Tech. West Virginia is giving 3 points. So if you want to take West Virginia, you got to give 3. Virginia Tech has been struggling, and Neil Brown is on the hot seat at West Virginia, so it could be a loser leaves town game. So that is our Leonardo's and Millhopper quick picks. Can't wait to see Kyle on Friday. We'll be playing together in the Stop Children's Cancer Tournament. So look forward to that on Friday. I don't think we're going to defend our championship because we had a different team last year, which included Cardozo, who's got to be with the football team. All right, let us get to our Adams Rib to Go Gator of the Weekend. And I thought about a lot of football players, but then in the end, I came down to the thing that made me happiest this weekend, and that was Florida volleyball winning against Wisconsin. Record crowd for a college women's basketball game. They put it in the Kohl Center to try to break the record. They did. You knew that was going to be a hard place to play, and there weren't a lot of Florida fans there among the 16,000. And Florida found a way to win. It was incredibly exciting to watch. I only watched the last game and a half because that 15-point thing for the 5th set. I always it's kind of a half game. But anyway, the point was they won. They went up there and found a way to win. And that's the coach that Mary Wise is, being able to get wins like that. Maybe she should go speak to the football team Saturday, before Saturday's game. Just say, hey, guys, look, here's the thing. We just went to the biggest crowd ever to watch a women's volleyball game and beat them in their own place. You can do it. Come on, Anthony. All right, that is our Adams Ribco to go. Gator of the weekend. It is time now for Hesser and Kipke 3 Things, which we do every Monday and Friday. And, of course, 3 Things, as always, brought to you by Hesser and Kipke, a law firm based in Hale Plantation, specializing in employment, workers' comp, and family law. Visit their website at www.hklawfl.com or call Ken and Jennifer at 352-339-9920. I should call Ken. I know I need a 4th for my golf tournament, or for this golf tournament. So I'll give Ken a call. All right. Number 1 on Hesser and Kipke 3 Things. Really shame to see Trey Lance break his ankle and is out for the year. I mean, he finally gets his chance to be the quarterback. But, boy, I bet you the 49ers are thrilled that they kept Jimmy Garoppolo around instead of getting rid of him and trying to get some other young player in there to try to figure things out. And they did pretty well to win that, but feel bad for a guy like that, for Trey Lance to have had an injury like that. Number 2 on 3 Things, the coach was talking about how great the games were this weekend, and the NFL, they were just incredible games, and it seemed like one after another. Started with Thursday night, and the NFL has a formula that is not even a formula that you can necessarily dial up. They get all their games to be close, pretty much. You get every team's about the same. Well, you get a better quarterback, maybe you win games, but it's just the games end up being tremendous. And even when you think, this game's in control, it never is. We saw that with Tua throwing 4 fourth-quarter touchdowns, and we saw it with Kyler Murray driving his team back from behind, which was unbelievable. Great games, really a lot of fun to watch on a Sunday. And then finally on 3 Things, brought to you by Hesser and Kipke. How about this? What do these teams have in common? Kansas, Kentucky, North Carolina, and Duke. Well, they're all basketball schools, right? That's what John Calipari said about Kentucky. All basketball schools, all blue bloods of college basketball. But no, that's not what they have in common. They're all undefeated. They're all 3-0. What's going on here? What world are we living in? And that Houston game I was talking about, they were playing Kansas. That's what Kansas drove their team crazy. They started fighting each other. I mean, it's unbelievable what's going on at all 4 of those places, especially at Kansas. I love that coach, Leopold. He really knows what he's doing. That is our Hesser and Kipke 3 Things. Let us get to our Pat Dooley story time, which we always love to do. And it's always brought to you by East Lake Pediatrics. Here's the story that I wanted to tell today. I had written down for last Friday, but then I came up with another story because it was raining. You guys know what I talked about. Pat Dooley, here's why I don't gamble. Now, everybody says, well, you don't gamble. No, I don't. I've been to Vegas twice, bet a few slots. I don't like to bet. The biggest reason is I don't want to lose money for something that doesn't give me, I don't want to spend money for something that doesn't give me, pleasure. Watching a game, getting a movie, gambling, you're eventually going to lose. We all know that. It's the way it works. So, but here's the real reason I don't gamble. I did gamble back in my 20s. I had a guy who was a very good friend of mine who worked with me at the newspaper. I'm not going to give his name. He's passed away now. But anyway, and he had a bookie. And so I kind of got into it. I have a little bit of an addictive personality, as we all know. So I got into it, and the Braves are playing, and Pascual Perez is pitching for the Braves. And I know I've been following this guy, and this guy's really good. I think he's gonna, it's at LA. I think they're gonna win. And the odds were really good. So I bet, I think it was $50, which for me was a lot of money. So they're winning the whole game. The whole game they're winning like 2-1. And so in this Pascual Perez, the guy who went the wrong way on I-95 or I-75, is pitching. He's pitching a humdinger. 2 outs, runner on second, bottom of the ninth, ground ball into Jerry Royster. Jerry Royster played shortstop, played second, but he played all right as a utility guy. Really good player. Right through the wicket. I mean, it wasn't even a hard shot. It was right through the wicket. LA comes back and wins the game in extra innings. I went, that's it. I'm done. And I haven't really gambled ever since. I don't bet on, like if I bet on games right now, I'd be ahead because I do pick against the spreads for WRUF.com, but no, I'm not good at it. All right. That is our Pat Dooley story time. Now you know the secret why I don't gamble. All right. Finally today, and we always love doing this, the Gainesville Quarterback Club. T. Allen Taylor will be speaking from the Athletic on Tuesday, tomorrow night. Looking forward to that, hearing what he's got to say. Covers the Gators, obviously, for the Athletic. The games of the week from the Gainesville Quarterback Club. West Virginia, Virginia Tech, I mentioned, 7:30. That's an ESPN game. There's also another game, Coastal Carolina at Georgia State. I might ask you to watch that, but I'll probably have it on. Maybe. This is on Thursday as well, 7:30 on the U. Pittsburgh and Cleveland are playing on Thursday in the NFL. Interesting game, and Pittsburgh trying to figure out they got no quarterback. That's an 8:15 game on Thursday night. And also, Thursday night on Fox, the Braves at the Phillies. So I may need multiple TVs. I got two. I may need to pull at least a third to watch all these games. That is our Gainesville Quarterback Club Games of the Week. Thanks to our guests, Steve Spurrier, Robbie Andrew. Thanks to Tammy and Jason for doing a great job producing with all the things I throw at them. Throwing something at him again this week. And we're doing a Thursday interview with Jimmy Himes and from WNOX up in Knoxville. And we'll see what he says about the Vols.